Hey there, good morning. I'm here probably on one of the last warm days of November. I think it's going to start getting cold again, but yeah, I'm in my backyard. You can kind of see what it's a little Spartan with what happened with the derecho. We had a lot of trees back there, and most of them are gone. But anyway, this is normally my day off, so I'm still kind of in my comfies, and I got my doggies here. But I had a fun thing that happened. Our cat ran away, and we knew he was sort of under the house. He's very shy. We adopted him from another person, and he was declawed, and so anyway, he raced out of the house. And so I set a live trap for him. I borrowed one from a friend, and the first night I caught this feral cat that was like a mountain lion. The second night, the dogs smelled the bacon that was in it, and so they jumped out of the back, they managed to unlock the gate with their teeth, I guess, and they were batting the big live trap cage around. And but this morning, guess what? I caught Patrick. So we have him back, and I just brought him in, and it's a great day. So I'm very excited to have Patrick back. Our prodigal son is home, and I was especially nervous because I thought, gosh, it's going to get really, really cold, and so we were going to spend today with the flashlight and really do some serious crawling around. But today, I just wanted to read a little bit from Abraham Heschel's book, I Asked for Wonder. He was a wonderful rabbi, and in fact, the day before his death, he went up to traveled to Connecticut to stand outside of a federal prison in the freezing snow, waiting for the release of a dear friend of his who was a Catholic priest who had been jailed for civil protest. So what a person. But anyway, the introduction to this book I thought was really a good word for our devotion today. I spent last night at Marguerite's house, and for those of you who don't know, she's a member of our church who's very beloved, and her whole family had gathered around her bed last night, and what a beautiful evening, what a tribute to a wonderful person, and what a beautiful night. And it made me think about this book. Several years before Abraham Heschel's death in 1972, he suffered a near-fatal heart attack from which he never fully recovered. I traveled to his apartment to see, this is written by Samuel Dreschner, and so he's writing this, saying, I traveled to his apartment in New York to see him. He had gotten out of bed for the first time to greet me and was sitting in the living room when I arrived, looking weak and pale. He spoke slowly and with some effort, almost in a whisper, and I strained to hear his words. Sam, he said, when I regained consciousness, so this is Abraham Heschel talking, when I regained consciousness, my first feelings were not of despair or anger. I felt only gratitude to God for my life. For every moment I had lived, I was ready to depart. Take me, O Lord, I thought. I have seen so many miracles in my lifetime. Exhausted by the effort, he paused for a moment and then added, this is what I meant when I wrote these words in his book of Yiddish poetry. I did not ask for success. I asked for wonder, and you gave it to me. And that's the name of this book, I Asked for Wonder. Leaving Heschel's home, I walked alone, in silence, aimlessly, ambivalent oblivious of others, depressed by the knowledge that the man who meant so much to so many was mortally ill. I pondered his words. What had he meant by them? Was it possible to accept death so easily? Death, faceless enemy, fearsome monster who devours our days, confounds the philosopher, silences the poet, and reduces the mighty to offering all their gold in vain for yet just one more hour? Was he telling me not to sorrow overmuch, thinking of my feelings when he was moving toward the end of all feeling? Could he have been trying to console me? Suddenly there rang in my mind the striking passage with which he had concluded his first major work called Man is Not Alone. These are his words. Our greatest problem is not how to continue, but how to return. How can I repay unto the Lord all of his bountiful dealings with me? He quotes from Psalm 116. When life is an answer, death is a homecoming. The deepest wisdom man can attain is to know that his destiny is to aid and to serve. This is the meaning of death, the ultimate self-dedication to the divine. Death so understood will not be distorted by the craving for immortality, for this act of giving away is reciprocity on man's part for God's gift of life. For the pious man, it is a privilege to die. And I found myself recalling a Hasidic teaching he often quoted, that there are 3 levels, ascending levels of how one mourns. With tears, that is the lowest; with silence, that is higher; and with a song, that is the highest. I understood then what it was I had experienced, the lesson that how a man meets death is a sign of how he has met life. Intimations of melody countered my sadness. At that moment, the power of the human spirit, mortal and frail though it is, never seemed so strong. 10 days before his death, Heschel had taped a television interview for NBC and was asked by the interviewer at the close of the program if he had a special message for young people. He nodded his head and seemed to turn to the future he would never see. Remember, he said, that there is meaning beyond absurdity. Know that every deed counts, that every word is power. And above all, remember that you must build your life as if it were a work of art. So, how do we face death? With tears, with silence, or with a song? And last night when Marguerite's family gathered around her, we sang together, "O Come All Ye Faithful." O come all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant, O come ye, O come ye Bethlehem. I love that. Come all ye faithful to Bethlehem. Let's try to deal with this season of dying and death that we have, that's happening around us. Let's deal with it with courage and comforting one another and using our minds, listening to science, paying attention to what needs to be done, and maybe we can try singing a little bit. I know that we're not supposed to be singing with our voices and passing the germs and all of that, but maybe to ourselves. I hope you have a nice day. I hope you are able to get out in this weather and enjoy. I'm happy because our our kitty cat is back, so that's kind of fun. Take care. I hope you have a good one.